Hello, good evening everyone. Thanks for staying for the Q&A for Black Box. Pleasure to meet you, Yann. Having watched this movie a couple times now, every time it's a new experience, and I have to say, seeing it in this theater, in the DGA, with this sound system was an entirely new experience, so let's thank the DGA for hosting such a event.
Thank you.
I'd also very quickly like to thank the filmmakers of Free Fall. I think after seeing these two movies in succession, I might not take an airplane flight for a long time. But I wanted to get right into some of the thoughts that we're all probably sharing about Black Box and your creative process. So if you would, could you please just start off at what the genesis was for the idea and how you jumped into it, and a little bit about your process.
Le point de départ, c'est vraiment ma fascination pour le monde de l'aéronautique, de l'aviation civile.
So the start was really my fascination for the world of aviation.
Il y a énormément de films qui sont des catastrophes aériennes, mais je crois que j'ai jamais vu de film vraiment qui montrait le monde de l'aéronautique presque d'un point de vue sociologique.
So there have been a lot of movies about airplanes, aviation, crashes, but they've never really showed the world of, aeronautical.
Et également, j'ai été fasciné par les boîtes noires, ces fameuses boîtes noires dont les journaux nous parlent sans cesse quand il y a des accidents, mais on ne sait pas à quelle réalité elles correspondent, et j'avais envie de savoir, justement, de montrer ce que c'était.
So they talk a lot in the press about the black boxes when there is a crash, but nobody really knows what this is about, so I really wanted to get into that world and show what it was about.
Elles sont pas noires, comme vous avez pu le constater, elles sont oranges.
They're not black, as you can see, they're orange.
That was quite a surprise to me, and I just have to jump in and say, we all understand whatever language you speak. Obviously, we all speak the language of cinema, but the language of avionics is something that we know inherently by the experience of going on airplanes, but the technical details are so opaque and mysterious that I found this world to be very intriguing.
Oui, tout à fait. Moi, j'avais pas envie de survoler l'aspect technique. Je connaissais rien à ce monde-là, j'étais fasciné par ça, et donc j'ai rencontré vraiment les gens du BEA, donc le bureau d'enquête et analyse.
So I didn't want to just fly over the technical aspect of this world. I've met people, the technician, I talked to them, and I'm really fascinated by that.
Et c'est ces gens qui travaillent donc au BEA, qui est un peu l'équivalent du NTSB ici aux États-Unis.
Yes, so I mean, I met the people from the BEA, which is a little bit the equivalent of the aviation, the people who do the investigations when there are crashes here in the US.
Et donc du coup, je les ai rencontrés et j'ai eu des interviews, des entretiens avec eux de nombreuses fois. Et voilà, tout de suite, je leur ai dit, moi, j'ai pas envie de faire un film sur reconstituer un crash qui aurait déjà eu lieu dans le passé. J'ai envie de parler des problématiques actuelles. C'est quoi les problématiques modernes dans l'aviation civile aujourd'hui?
So I told them, I don't want to do, I met them several times, and I said I want to know all the things about technicals, and I do not want to talk about the plane crash that already happened before. I just want to know about all the problems that you're dealing with today.
Donc je voulais faire une fiction, je voulais vraiment faire un thriller, le thrill, et l'aspect entertainment. Mais en même temps, j'avais envie d'évoquer les problématiques modernes qui sont en train de bouleverser l'aviation civile. Donc, c'est une fiction, mais ce qu'on voit dans le film, c'est pas de la science-fiction. C'est vraiment des dangers aujourd'hui qui existent et qui sont pris très au sérieux.
So I wanted to do a fiction, but what you see today, I wanted to cover all the problems that they have today with technology and everything, and all the issues that could happen in the world of aeronautics and flights.
Well, it's very interesting as a storyteller. I see that the research is there and the world is there, but to tell a compelling thriller, to make people really engage in the emotion, you also have to have real characters and real humans. And I fell in love with Mathieu. I think he's a great character. Can you talk a little bit about, I know you've worked with the actor Pierre before. How do you pronounce his name?
Pierre.
Perfect. I meant the last name.
Pierre Niney.
Thank you, Niney. I know.
Everybody call him Pierre.
Okay, just Pierre is fine for me. I know that you have worked with him before, so was there part of the genesis of this character, was your familiarity with him as an actor, or was there something that you were looking for in a character that could drive a story like this?
Oui, en fait, j'avais envie d'évoquer, de parler de la quête de vérité, et je voulais montrer à quel point cette quête de vérité, elle peut être complexe, combien ce chemin vers la vérité aujourd'hui peut être destructeur.
So I was really looking for the quest to find the truth, and I wanted to show how this quest can be really complicated.
Et destructeur.
Complex, I'm sorry.
And destructive.
And destructive as well.
Et j'avais donc besoin d'un personnage qui soit vraiment obsessionnel, qui soit qui puisse à un moment donné, on puisse se demander si vraiment lui-même ne devient pas fou, et cette personne qui cherche tant la vérité, est-ce que on peut se demander si à un moment donné dans le film on peut se dire est-ce que lui-même ne devient pas un complotiste?
So I needed to have somebody who has this quality of somebody who can be completely obsessed, and at some point you start doubting, is he insane or not, and is he kind of going down the rabbit hole and kind of becoming somebody who is like all these conspiracy theories.
Et je me suis inspiré aussi de techniciens que j'ai vus au BEA qui sont très nerds. C'est un métier qui rend...
I understand that.
So I also was inspired by the technicians that I met at the BA, and these guys are really tough because, you know, that's what the business, their job requires.
Parce qu'ils analysent des enregistrements qui sont souvent dégradés, qui sont de très mauvaise qualité, et donc ils travaillent dans le micro-détail, et à force de travailler dans le micro-détail, on peut perdre la vision d'ensemble.
So they analyze stuff, I mean, sounds and everything on this box that have been really damaged. And so it's like they work in micro details, and then they can sometimes just...
Tu perds la vision.
Yeah, you lose like the vision of the whole if you just concentrate on that.
Yeah, and that also speaks to the point of view of Mathieu, the character, that he often goes into a sound world, and obviously the sound design of the film was subjective to his point of view, but also I felt referential to some great movies that leaned on sound design. Maybe you could speak to some references.
C'était important pour moi qu'on s'identifie au personnage principal, donc effectivement il y a une subjectivité sonore dans le film.
So it's really important that you identify with the main character, and there's something about the sound. Of course, that's really important in there.
Et je trouvais intéressant que le personnage ait ce don, presque ce super pouvoir d'entendre des sons que les autres n'entendent pas.
So it's really important to know that this character has this kind of gift that he hears sounds that other people can't hear.
Mais dans le même temps, ce pouvoir devient aussi son talon d'Achille, et par moments il a des crises d'acouphènes, et l'environnement qui l'entoure devient extrêmement hostile. Et du coup, ça le fragilise, et ça, cette dualité-là, je la trouvais intéressante.
So I found this duality really interesting, because what is his gift is also something that is his frailty, basically, and he takes them into this world.
That's very interesting. It also brought up something that I found very compelling, is that there's a sense of doubt that he has, that he's wrestling with, and that is a very compelling feature of his character.
Ouais, c'était important pour moi de forcer le spectateur à s'identifier à ce personnage, et en même temps Je voulais que ce personnage soit fragile, qu'il doute, et que nous, spectateurs, on ait aussi à un moment donné un doute à l'égard de ce personnage, et qu'on commence à se demander s'il ne fait pas fausse route, s'il ne devient pas complètement, il s'aveugle dans des théories complotistes.
So yeah, so I thought it was really important for the audience to identify with this character, to identify with doubts that you have, with the struggles that you have, and to start to wonder, isn't this guy going completely off the cliff or going in the wrong way?
When the tension reaches a certain climactic point, there's a release that audiences have that is this nervous laughter that's really fun.
C'est le seul moment comique du film, effectivement.
It's the only fun moment in the movie.
Maybe true, maybe, but I found the entire experience to be quite enjoyable, and everyone in the film was very layered, even characters that were out of the film, like Pollock, for example. We learn some layers about him. There's some really great visual storytelling that's taking place where you see pictures of him scuba diving, and then later we find the original black box in a scuba camera gear, and there's tanks in the basement, and there's lots of really great clues that you put through. So I commend you again on that. I would be remiss in not saying what a joy it is to see a paranoid thriller, a modern paranoid thriller that feels like it's of our time, that feels like it's very contemporary, but also has an echo of movies that we all love, like The Conversation or Brian De Palma's Blowout, that have used sound and paranoia and doubt as engines, and so I congratulate you on that. It's not a easy feat.
En tout cas sur l'aspect actuel, c'est vrai que quand j'ai commencé à écrire, cette idée cette chose sur la conspiration, c'était quelque chose qui n'était pas autant d'actualité qu'aujourd'hui.
So when I started writing, I tried to find something that is very relevant today, and also the things about conspiracy that are very current these days.
Et en fait, vraiment, à la fin de l'écriture et au moment où j'ai commencé le tournage, je me suis dit vraiment que le film devait dépasser le cadre stricto sensu de l'aéronautique.
So at the end of writing the script, and when I started shooting, I thought, this has to go a bit further than just, aviation world.
Il devait, j'espère, capter le parfum en fait de notre époque complètement paranoïaque. Et cette paranoïa, je pense, elle vient de la technologie.
So it has to capture what's going on these days. That's a little bit paranoid, and that has to do with technology as well.
Parce que, je vais paraître peut-être un peu vieux jeu, évidemment la technologie a amené énormément de choses, a amené beaucoup plus de sécurité dans l'aviation.
So I don't want to, sound old-fashioned, and of course technology has brought aviation to a much safer level.
Mais aujourd'hui, la technologie, il y a une telle emprise dans nos vies. Aujourd'hui, tout est tellement dématérialisé que vous ne savez plus ce qui est vrai de ce qui est faux. Et ça rend dingue, en fait, ça rend fou.
Yeah, and technology and the media really has taken such an, important role that we don't really know anymore what's what, and it drives us crazy in a certain way.
Il suffit de voir toutes les fake news qui pullulent. Voilà, on est dans ce monde-là, et j'ai l'impression que la technologie va amener encore plus ce sentiment de parano, cette crainte de ne plus savoir ce qui est vrai et ce qui est faux.
So you don't know what's real and what's not anymore. You just, have to listen to all the things that are going on with the fake news. So you don't know anymore, and you become a bit paranoid, and you don't know what's what anymore.
Et j'espère que le film montre combien parfois la frontière peut être vraiment très, très fine entre la quête de vérité et finalement le complotisme. La frontière entre la vérité et le complotisme.
Yeah, so and it's really a very thin border between truth and, plotting and all these other things going on.
And I also noticed there's a layer behind that, which is the sense that large corporations that can skirt regulations or find ways around rules, whether it's technology corporations or aviation corporations, there's a sense of fear that we don't understand who's approving the rules, who's regulating the safety, and that really comes through in this, through many of the characters.
Oui, le film évoque aussi ces conflits d'intérêts qu'il y a dans tous les milieux, où il y a quelque chose de très consanguin, où les autorités qui sont censées certifier, certaines personnes travaillent ensuite chez le constructeur.
Yeah, so it's like really conflict of interest that's going on with certain players, you know, that should normally be working separately, have kind of deals and confluences, and you don't really know what's what anymore.
Et c'est pas simplement lié à l'industrie aéronautique, vous l'avez aussi en politique, par exemple. Combien de fois on a appris que le ministre de la Santé, son compagnon, sa compagne travaillent dans un laboratoire pharmaceutique?
So it's not only have to do with aviation, like in politics, sometimes you hear that the girlfriend of one of the ministers, for example, for health, his girlfriend is working in a lab, somewhere medical lab.
Et c'est vrai que le film aussi fait référence à cette crise qu'il y a eu sur les Boeing 737 MAX, qui ont été des avions qui ont été certifiés et qui ont pourtant eu des soucis, qui ont eu un souci de logiciel d'automatisation.
So it also deals with some real issues that they had with one of the planes that was certified, but they really had issues, and yet they were certified.
J'aimerais bien savoir si Dussolier, finalement, est du mauvais côté ou du bon côté.
The question is, I would like to know if Dussolier, who plays a part of the boss at the BEA, is he on the good side or the bad side, actually,
This is
at the end? Yes.
Pollock.
Non, Régnier.
The boss. Yes.
The boss.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Non, pour moi, il est tout à fait intègre et il fait son travail. Et en revanche, il amène des contre-arguments à Matthieu parce que ce personnage, Matthieu, est comme quelqu'un qui s'est trompé dans le passé et qui a moyen.
So on the contrary, he's a guy who has a lot of integrity, but of course, you know, he has also arguments to say against, you know, Mathieu, because there is something in his past where he was wrong.
Oui, tout à fait.
Right. That was the thing in the past was the accident where he made a call and the reporter who called him on it, right? Again, creating doubt, creating a sense that we are never sure, should we put our hearts with him, should we believe in him, or is he losing his mind with this obsession? Very good. There was one over this direction. Yes, sir.
Could you address the use of your music?
Yeah. Music.
What exactly?
In particular, the scene where he's driving in the countryside, and it just felt very Hitchcockian. I was wondering if you...
Oui, c'était alors le compositeur s'appelle Philippe Rombi. C'est un compositeur dont j'aime énormément le travail, je ne sais pas si vous le connaissez, mais qui a fait énormément de musique de film pour un réalisateur français qui s'appelle François Ozon.
So the composer is called Philippe Rombi, and he has done he's composed a lot of music for a French director that you might know, that's called François Ozon.
Et c'est vrai que dans le film, on souhaitait mélanger une musique orchestrale avec des sonorités électroniques.
So we wanted to mix, like, you know, orchestral music with electronic sounds.
Mais effectivement, pour cette séquence dont vous faites référence, évidemment, c'était une référence Hitchcockienne, enfin à la Bernard Herrmann, qui est évidemment un des maîtres absolus dans le domaine.
So yes, of course, this scene that you're talking about in the countryside while he's driving has a reference to Hitchcock.
Et c'est vrai que c'était important pour moi qu'à un moment donné, le film est dans un univers très très froid. Et j'avais envie qu'à un moment donné, la musique soit presque très lyrique à la fin du film. En tout cas, quand Noémie s'éloigne et marche sur le tarmac, à un moment donné, elle est gagnée par l'émotion. Donc j'avais besoin de ce lyrisme-là.
Yeah, and so also because, you know, the movie is pretty cold, like towards the end of the movie when Noemi walks, you know, on the tarmac, I wanted something really lyrical.
Yeah, it felt very evocative for me, and this is subjective, of course, but it felt evocative of some of the work that Howard Shore did with David Cronenberg, and that felt very emotional to me.
Et je pensais aussi à un compositeur qui s'appelle David Shire, qui a travaillé avec normalement Coppola justement.
Also thinking about David Shire, who worked with Coppola.
Qui était aussi une référence.
Yeah.
He was also a reference for
Un
me,
compositeur que j'admire.
and I admire him a lot.
Yes, very, very good. Sir?
Could you tell us about your next project, please?
Yes, of course. What's up next?
Non, désolé, j'ai pas envie d'en parler.
No, right now he's really sorry, but I don't want to talk about it.
The smart answer. I like that because right now it's celebrate the black box.
En fait, j'ai parlé d'un projet avant, ça s'est jamais produit, donc depuis, je
Okay, so he doesn't want to be jinxed because he talked about one of his projects before and then it never happened. So this is why he's, you know, not talking about it, taking his precautions.